Morning, noon, and bite. It's buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's. Choose from a sausage biscuit, hash browns, McChicken biscuit, or other morning faves. At lunch or dinner, enjoy a McChicken, McDouble, small fries, and more. Buy one, get one for $1. You can get two of the same item or mix and match them. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Is if you ever asked anybody, why is a kidney punch illegal in boxing? Well, it's because they used to say it could kill you. And then you would, if you ask somebody where the kidney is, and I know most people aren't watching the video, but I'm touching my lower back, okay? Your kidney's not in your lower back anymore. Now it's raised up, protected behind your rib cage. Also, every day, we used to say, this is a huge one, okay? And this one is, I don't know how anybody can deny this. We used to say the Pledge of Allegiance every day. We would look at the American flag, which, by the way, had a red stripe underneath the blue stars. It no longer does. It has a white stripe under the blue, and we'll talk about why I think that is in a little bit. But you would say the Pledge of Allegiance. You would put your right hand over the left side, over your chest, because that's where your heart is. Your heart is now nearly dead center, protected behind your sternum. Now, there are a lot of other changes that people can go deeper into. There's also now like these 6 little holes that are drilled in your skull. If you take a look at the human skull, there's like these 6 little holes that are drilled in it. Those weren't there before. I believe that these things are protection. They're protection from the Creator. They're all upgrades. So you're more secure. Your heart's more placed back here, protected. Your kidney's more protected. And then one more came in last year. We're not going to talk about the current thing that's going on in the world today, but I will say I think something came in from the Creator to help people, and you guys can put the picture together yourself. Scientists, a few months after the current thing kicked off in March of 2020, scientists all of a sudden discovered these 2 glands in the back of your throat, each a half an inch long, that have supposedly always been there, yet they just discovered them, that are meant to protect you from bacterial infection. In your mouth and in your breathing. So I think the Creator had stepped in and done a little due diligence to try and save people from some things. So I think that there's nothing to be afraid of. None of these have hurt anybody. Most Mandela effects are pretty neutral, unless you take great offense in the changes to the Bible, which some people do take great offense in that. I don't take such great offense because I'm very neutral on the topic, but there are huge changes throughout Scripture that go all the way back to the past. It's not a translation issue, not because you have a different version than other people. So there are a lot of changes going on. But unless the Bible changes really offend you, most of these are pretty neutral. A lot of things are kind of downgrades, just like you listen to a line from a movie that's changed, or a song is completely muddled now and it really doesn't make much sense. There's a lot of that going on, but it's nothing really too bad that's hurt anybody,
The whole purpose of the Mandela effect and where we are noticing this, I mean, look, it's easy to look at cereal boxes or books or movie lines and misremember what is going on with them. But when you're talking about pattern changes to countries on Earth, like I always remember Cuba being very small, like you mentioned in the first half hour, and yep. Now look at the size of it. Or like you just mentioned, the heart. Like in Canada here during Remembrance Day, which would be I believe Veterans Day down south, November 11th for you guys. We always place a poppy on the left side because it's supposed to go where the heart is. And
yeah. And it's not even close to there. It's not even close to there now. It's not even close to being on the left side like it was.
No, I totally understand you. Where do you? I mean, you mentioned a couple of times, and it's kind of controversial. You think that this is a battle versus good versus evil, that these changes are taking part?
I do. I think the majority, and I go back and forth on a lot of it. And let me just say right here, this part right here, guys, is completely theory. So if you hate this part of the conversation, that's cool, man. I might hate your theory, but guess what? As long as we recognize this is happening, we're all on the same side here trying to figure this out. I think that it is a battle of good and evil. I think, honestly, that a lot of the signs are clues. We're trying to figure something out. We're being communicated with by this. For example, in the Bible, now where it used to say, if you ask anybody what animal lies with the lamb, and I'll let you chat, get a second to answer. Isaiah 11:6, what animal lies with the lamb? Now, everybody ever, except people that have already seen the argument and are opposed to the Mandela effect and are going to just say, whatever they say to be opposed to it. But if you ask anybody spontaneously, they're all going to tell you what's filling up in your chat right now, the lion. Well, it's never been the lion. It's always been the wolf. So I think that's a clear message. Like, the wolf's in the house. Other songs there's a lot of songs that have changed. Let's talk about a few of them, right? Jewel, who will save your soul? Now it says, who will save your souls? Okay? Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge. It's the city I live in, the city of angels. Now it says city of angel. They're talking about LA. It's supposed to be the city of angels. We all know that. So the city of what angel? You're going to save whose souls? The mamas and the papas. California Dreamin'. I get down on my knees and I began to pray. It now says, I get down on my knees and I pretend to pray. So there's a couple ways to look at this, right? Because there's some blasphemous changes in the Bible, right? Like now Jesus is beating off in a river. God does all the killing at Passover rather than the angel of death. Jesus is hung in a tree. There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on that was never in there. It's kind of a couple ways to look at it, in my opinion. You could look at it as it's God changing these or allowing it to be changed to give people warnings like, hey, look at what's going on in the world and ba. Or maybe the Bible's wrong and it's to show you that the Bible is off and these things are to show you that. Or maybe the Bible is right and maybe it's Satan perverting and changing these things in there and taking shots at the Creator. There's a lot of ways to look at it. So whether you believe it's Satan, God, or any other theory, there's just let's all, not bicker about that stuff. And we all get triggered by things we don't believe in. I even admit I do. I'll try to keep it in when that happens, But I do think it is absolutely a supernatural battle. I think it's mostly the Creator doing it. And what I think it is, Dave, I think this is like this place that's laid out by God. God created our green earth. Satan put all his artificial matrix on top of it, from the food to the education to the medicine, you get it, right? And I think the Creator has laid this out to us. It's like a test. Our whole life is like a test. It's like a choose your own adventure book. If you remember what those were, you would read like a couple chapters, you would get to the end, and then it would give you like 5 choices, and depending on what choice you'd make, it would bounce you to a different part of the book and kind of build the story. I look at life like that, but most people, they just go through the motions. They're just running a script. They're just NPCs. We make cognitive choices, and now we're getting to the point where the Creator wants to see if we're ready for the next phase, to graduate out of here, to get to the supernatural side, the spiritual side. And I believe the Mandela effect is kind of like the gateway to that. That's my opinion. And I believe that the other side is trying to keep physical people trapped in this realm and trying to get them to not graduate to that and to deny the changes. And I don't think that those people are damned, they're going to go to hell or any of that. I think that's all fear-mongering. But I do think that they're going to repeat because they failed the test.
So as you look deeper into this and you look into the music and the lyrics, look, we can all misremember that. And I'm trying to play a logical skepticism here, and maybe I shouldn't because I find myself kind of agreeing with you on a lot of this, but show host says I kind of have to. But the idea behind all of these changes that are happening right under our noses, how are more people not cognizant of the fact that this is happening outside of very few who are witnessing this unbelievable?
Most won't even look, Dave. Most won't even look. I mean, I've seen some, I'm not looking at the chat too much, but I'll glance over and people will say things like, so you're telling me if I go look at my Bible right now, it's actually changed. Yeah. If you go look at your Bible that's in your house, the movies I named that are in your house, if you go pull a map out that's in your house, a globe that's in your basement, yes, it's changed. It's changed. So, and it's easy to say, well, there's different translations of this and that. But somebody like myself, I am very specific when I tell you about a change. I will tell you if it's a universal change in all Bibles. Like here's one. Let's talk about one real quick because this is my favorite one. Now, most people know the Lion and the Lamb one. My favorite one, again, we're not going to get too deep into the topic, but just before the current thing that's going on in the world today, because this stuff all correlates, The Bible changed. One of the most quoted passages that everybody knows, Matthew 18:20. Let's play a game with the chat. Matthew 18:20. Finish it for me if you guys know. When two or blank gather. When two or blank gather, there I am in the midst. Okay? Now this changed universally. This is a change that's in every Bible. It doesn't matter if you have a KJV, NKJV, ESV, 1611 Bible. It doesn't matter what version of translation you have. Matthew 18:20. And people are all writing in the chat, where two or what gather in my name. Okay? Now I see two or more. Let's see. More. Two or more. Two or blank gather. I see everybody has said more so far. I haven't even seen any other answers yet. Okay, now, if you open up your Bible, everybody, it's going to say two or three. Now, why would everybody remember two or more if it's two or three? Is three too hard of a word for us to remember? Those are the type of things Mandela Effect and I will say. Or if you catch them in a Bible change, I just said it this way because I had somebody tell me they just said two or more because it was aesthetically pleasing. No, two or more, when two or more gather in my name, there I am in the midst, is what it said. There were slight other variations because of the different versions, but they all said two or more. There I am in the midst, two or more gathered, two or more gather, where two or more are gathered, there I am in the midst. All Bibles now say two or three. Check your own copy that's 3 feet away from you. Check your own copy in your grandmother's basement. Right now, while you're listening to this radio show, open up Matthew 18:20, and you will see that it says where two or three are gathered. Why would God limit gatherings? Is he just going to get up and leave when the fourth person comes? Does that make any sense? Now think about what's going on in the world and what has happened, and we'll leave it there. Now I'm telling you, this stuff is profound.
Outside of the religious aspect of it, I mean, what about politically speaking? Are we seeing a lot of Mandela effects happen on the political level?
I don't really know. I don't know much because I don't follow politics at all. I can't stand it. It's a complete mind trap to keep you involved in their nonsense. But there were some that changed. Hillary Clinton, for instance, her name kept flip-flopping in front of us from 1L to 2L while she was running for president. We watched it change like 3 or 4 times, okay? As far as other politics, well, yeah. I don't know if it's really political, but here's a video I did, kind of a newer video since the last time I came on. Has to do with the Reagan assassination, not really politics, but the Reagan assassination's changed now. John Hinckley Jr., his name changed. It used to be Hinckley, Hinkley. Now it's HinckleY. At least for me and a lot of other people I've spoken to. Are there other changes in the political realm? Probably, but I'm definitely not the guy to talk about that. But hey, back when we were talking about the Bible and God and all that, right. I want people to take a look and picture in the head some artwork real quick because this is important, right? Because I believe this one's just changed again. So the creation of Adam, okay, that is painted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. It depicts God reaching down to Adam and sparking life into man. Take a look at that, anybody that's in front of a computer now, because now God is actually lower than Adam. And he's actually gotten a little bit lower just as of late. He is actually lower than man now. Think about the messages here. The wolf's in the house dwelling with the lamb instead of the lion laying with the lamb. 2 or more, unlimited gatherings, and God will be present. Now you're limited. Now, also, man is higher than God on the ceiling of a Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo's Moses statue now has horns. This stuff goes on and on. All the most famous artworks and statues around the world are changing. We haven't even talked about like the Statue of Liberty yet, the Thinker statue. But take a look, everybody. Creation of Adam. God was he used to clearly be pointing down at like a 45-degree angle with his fingertip, where Adam would be pointing up with his fingertip. The whole thing's changed. Not only are they basically on an even level now, God's a tad bit lower. Adam's wrist is like all limp. It was not like that before. And there are other minor changes to it, which I'm not going to address just because we'll just stay with the big ones.
Well, let's go into things like pieces of art and statues. I think that's an interesting part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So all the major, I shouldn't say all, that's a big statement. So many of the major statues, artworks, and monuments around the world have changed. This is important, too, because people love to say Mandela affects just media changes or it's just American. I just told you the Sistine Chapel, the painting that's been there since I think it's the 1600s. Allegedly, I'll tell you, anytime I give you a date, that's what they tell us. I don't trust any dates. But I will say it's mad old. Okay, I know it's been there for a long time, probably at least hundreds of years. The ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, God putting the spark into man. God is now a little bit lower than man. You don't think that's a message, guys? My goodness. Other artwork that's changed, the Thinker statue used to have his fist to his forehead. Everybody knows this. Then it changed. It went fist to chin. Then his hand actually opened up almost like a Spock Vulcan thing, like this, and underneath his chin. And now if you look at him, his right elbow is on his left knee, and he's completely twisted. All the Thinker statues around the world. Yet, I know we're not showing images tonight, but I could show you images of people that have taken pictures. So with the Mandela effect, say you have a photograph of something and it physically changes, your photograph changes to match the reality, just in case anybody's wondering. So we'll put that out. Now, picture this. People go to the Thinker statue a few years ago, several years ago, they all posed the way it was, fist to forehead. I'm talking about, I could show you a whole class field trip of kids, like 50 kids all around it, fist to forehead. The statue behind them in the photograph now, though, the hands under the chin, because it's changed in reality. It's changed in the photograph. Even in bodybuilding, this is a famous pose. They still call it the Thinker. But the Thinker doesn't do this anymore. The Thinker's like this now, and he's all twisted. One that I've covered that I found, I shouldn't say I found, actually, a viewer of mine actually did send it to me. I was the first one to do a video on it. It's the Heisman Trophy for college football. That's another one. It's not as significant as some of these other things, but it's something that people know. The Heisman Trophy, to do the Heisman pose, you always put one leg up in the air, and that same side, you'd put the hand out to the side. Usually left, but it could be the other side. You know, most people hold the ball in the right hand, but it could be the other way. You would hold your left leg, knee up in the air, left hand out to the side. When college football, because that's what the trophy is. Now, when college football is almost done every year, who's ever in running for the Heisman Trophy, if people don't know what that is, it's basically the MVP of college football in the United States. So anybody that's in the running for the trophy, they love to showboat if they get a touchdown. You know, they might win the award, so they're going to go and they go and strike the Heisman pose in the end zone, strike the Heisman pose. The Heisman Trophy's been Mandela affected. Now both feet are on the ground and the hands out like this, like he's doing a stop sign out in front of him. It's wild, dude.
I got to check that out. Heisman Trophy.
Yep, check it out, dude. That's a big one, dude. And I, you know, all these changes I'm addressing right now, I literally have a video on each one. Like I have a Heisman video, you know, it's like 15, 20 minutes long. All my videos, I show you all the residue. It's endless with that. I mean, every college football player does the Heisman.
I'm looking at, okay, I'm going to say this is this, okay? This one interests me quite a bit because for people who don't know, I'm a former sports reporter, a sports journalist, and I tend to think that I know quite a bit about sports here. And looking at the Heisman Trophy, to me, it's reversed as well.
Yeah.
It was always...
It is. The ball's on the opposite hand. The ball's in the wrong hand, too.
So he's going left. His body is going right to left. I always thought the body was going left to right.
Yeah. I am not 100% sure if it went left to right or right to left, but I do know that one leg was up in the air and the hand of the same side was out. Just like, you know, they always do it. Left leg up, left hand out is how I remember it. And now look at both feet are clearly on the ground and the hand is facing forward. The hand wasn't facing forward with an open palm like that. It was out to the side with the hand, like with the face of the hand facing towards the ground.
That is just very weird. Very, very weird. This one bugs me. I'm not going to lie. This one bugs me.
Yep. So statues and everything around the world, symbols. I mean, we could talk. People think it's stupid to talk about the media and the stuff and the logos, but I mean, all the logos around the world, friggin' changing. I mean, look at all the automobile logos that have changed.
Let's go to break here at the bottom of the hour here. Brian Staveley. We'll make that the top of the hour. I just Mandela affected myself. Top of the hour break. We're talking Mandela effect tonight. We'll ask some of your questions in hour 2 next as Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, we're clear. This is kind of cool. Subject never ceases to amaze me. Trips me out a little bit. Literally trips me out a little bit. Mystics Walk, how you doing? Thank you, everybody, for tuning us in. We really do appreciate it. Mike Roberts, how you doing, buddy? And please reminder, second hour, if you do have questions that you would like me to ask Brian, please put them in capital letters. The speed of the chat room right now, the way it's moving, it's just much easier for me to read them. Want to remind you that this Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, we have Women in Ufology. This is an event that Lynn Wallington, our weekend host, is putting on, bringing in some of the most brilliant minds in ufology together for a 6-hour event on Saturday. 6 hours. We hope you can tune it in. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern is when it starts. And, she's got some incredible people joining in on this conversation, from Melinda Leslie to Alex Dietrich to Cheryl Costa to many, many others that are going to absolutely be a part of this great, great forum of brilliancy this Saturday, only on our YouTube channel. So make sure you check it on out and hang on in there. Dry Toast, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Hi, gorgeous Marie. Marie, you still haven't said if you're going to be joining us for the Las Vegas party, the SOR first ever Las Vegas fan party for Spaced Out Radio. We are doing that April 22nd to 24th at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas. Everyone is invited. Okay, the only thing that we are charging money for is the live show that will happen on Saturday. We got some incredible people coming. Incredible people. That you're going to recognize, former guests that have been on this show, as well as many others. You could come hang out with us anytime. If you see us out for a drink or having a bite to eat, please feel free to come grab us, sit with us, say hello. That's what it's all about. James Weston, good to see you. And that is April 22nd to 24th. And we look forward to having all of you down there, or as many people as we can, down at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, April 22nd to 24th. It's going to be a good party, because Dave needs a good party. You know, Dave's tired of being stuck up here in Canada. So Dave will be there. And then next month, March 25th to 27th, both myself and Lynn Wallington will be speaking at UFOCon 2022 in San Francisco, California. You could go to UFOCon2022.com to check it on out and get tickets there if you want a weekend of UFO woo. We would appreciate seeing you there. That's going to be really, really cool. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, me too, man. Keith Simmons, welcome to SOR Chat. Gnome Squanch, good to see you. And who else has snuck into our chat room that I haven't said hello to? Better put that up.
People in the chat asked my website. I don't see it in the show notes, so I'm just going to tell them real quick.
Yeah.
Doseofrealityshow.com. Doseofrealityshow.com or therealnewsonline.com. It's the same website. And if you go there and just go to my links, you can get all my channels and donations and emails and social media. Everything there. I will just say right now, my YouTube channel looks like there's nothing on it because I had to make everything private. I'm on 2 strikes, but you can find all those videos for free on my Odyssey channel. So I'm primarily streaming on Rockfin, Twitch, but you can find all my videos for free on Odyssey. It's an easy site to use. So that's a link on that page.
Right on. A big thank you, Flat Out Fencing, for coming on in. Lucid Paralysis, welcome to SOR. And who else jumped in here? Paranormal Portal, welcome to SOR Chat. Jilly's Jewels, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you so much. And just a reminder to all of you that this is a live radio show. It is. That's why we take commercial breaks. So we're going to be coming back here momentarily. Let's see, in about 20 seconds. Thank you to Smithy, Belinda, Tim, Aiden, Rex, Fapster, Dirt, Road, Ed, Filthy, Jeff, Rob, and Dry Toast for the amazing super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this channel. And that's just what we like around here, just the love and support. And let's see where we go. We got about 20 seconds here before we're going to get going here.
Cool. Yeah, I want to talk about a few more statues and some historical things that I want to get into. Some new stuff that you haven't heard yet, probably.
Not a problem. Not a problem. We're going to get going here in about 5 seconds. So just sit back, relax, chill out. And let's make it happen right now.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Zerosis. Zerosis is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire, checking out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with our good friend Brian Staveley from doseofreality.com. Make that doseofrealityshow.com as we check on out the Mandela effect tonight on the big show here. Brian, welcome back. And right before the break, you started to get into some statues from around the world, and you wanted to continue on that.
Yeah, I did. We were just talking about, I believe, the thinker. We were talking about the Heisman, which is one that I kind of broke. I'm not the guy that's going to be the first to, putting out a lot of changes, or the guy that's going to be like, hey, here's new changes every week, because I got to, only when things really hit me and really resonate me. But I will say lately, there's been so many changes, but we'll get into that soon. But we were talking about statues and monuments and artwork and things like this. One that I readdressed recently with a Facebook post, but it's a video I made about a year ago. It's a change that for most of us is older, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Now, I'm going to play the little game with the chat again and everybody that's listening. If I were to ask you, and if you are, you know of the Mandela effect for any of these, you know how to answer the way you've always remembered. If I was to ask anybody in the chat, what significant thing is on King Tut's mask that stands out to you? King Tut's mask, the actual mask in his tomb, allegedly thousands of years old. Again, I don't trust timelines, but it's mad old. We'll call it that. We'll call it mad old. We'll call it not American, and we'll call it not media, right? It's like artifacts, ancient artifacts. King Tut's mask. What stands out to you on his mask, guys? And we'll see what the chat says to that.
I would say
because this is significant. This is what I'm talking about.
His headgear and his golden beard.
What about on his forehead? We'll be even more specific. Something on his forehead? Don't look.
I don't even know.
Oh, I see everybody writing in the chat. I see cobra, snake, single snake's head, beard of gold, cobra, vulture for the north, snake, cobra. But here's the thing. Again, I'm not here to call anybody an idiot. I'm here to show you that we're all experiencing the same thing. And it's amazing that people act like this isn't happening. I remember the cobra too, the snake in the center of his forehead, symmetrically. Dave, if you want to take a look at King Tut, maybe even bring it up on the screen for the video viewers. It is no longer just a snake. It is a snake and a vulture. They are side by side. It is no longer symmetrical. This has nothing to do with media. This is not my psyop. This is King Tut's mask. Mandela affected. Just like the continents. Just like the Bible. But people want to just talk about the Berenstain Bears and the Monopoly Man and say how there's nothing to this. Look how ridiculous King Tut's mask looks. This whole reality is being rewritten in front of us, Dave.
Now, what would be the purpose of affecting something like this mask?
Well, I mean, here you go. So I am not somebody that's well-versed in all the Egyptian stuff, but there's many researchers that are, so hopefully they can help us with this. That's why I love to point out that everybody's going through this. What is the symbology behind it? And what's the history of the bird that's on there now? I haven't dug that much deep into what the bird is supposed to represent on there and all that, but that'd be great if people would do that, because I think anybody that's looking at this right now thinks it's completely ridiculous looking. I didn't see anybody in the chat write snake and bird. Not one person. Just saying. Didn't see one person write anything about a bird, because there was no bird. But now it's always been there in this reality on this ancient artifact. And just like I said, we just talked about the Sistine Chapel and the ceiling and the creation of Adam, and God's lower than man now. And that's how many years old? These are big symbolic things in this world. Well,
it is very, very interesting indeed. You also mentioned something about other statues that are around the world that have changed.
Statue of Liberty. I mean, that's the big one right there, man. I mean, that's one everybody here knows. So don't bring it up on the screen yet, okay? But you can get it ready if you want. Statue of Liberty, there's so many Mandela effect changes with that. So we're going to get into history next. This is a perfect segue, because my biggest Mandela effect is Black Tom, which we'll go through quick when we go through it, because I know some of you have heard it, but there's many more that are tied to it. But the Statue of Liberty, if I was to ask everybody in the chat what you remember, what island is the Statue of Liberty located on? And we'll give this, and there's a few questions I'm going to ask the chat about this. This is huge. This thing has so many Mandela effects to it. It's unbelievable. And now this is something that, I mean, this is the most iconic statue in America. Everybody knows this. Everybody's looked at it. This Mandela effect is it's begging to get everybody's attention. That's why I think, there's so many movies and songs and all that. Some of them are significant messages. Some of it are pieces to a puzzle. But a lot of it is just because, man, that's what people know. You just got to try to poke at people, make them aware of this. Okay, let's take a look at the chat. What islands do we have, Dave, in the chat?
Let me pull it up here. We have the islands here. We have Ellis Island. Ellis, everybody's saying, one is saying Staten Island. Ellis Island. And yeah, we're looking at Ellis Island here. Liberty Island.
Statue of Liberty, never Ellis Island in this reality. I remember it on Ellis Island. Statue of Liberty is now on an island called Liberty Island, which did not exist to me at all. And if it's always been on Liberty Island and it's the freaking Statue of Liberty, how would we ever misconstrue it? And I get it. People are going to say, oh, Ellis Island's just where the immigration was. Yeah, we know the immigration was there. Now, here's my memory. Now, also, Statue of Liberty is technically in New Jersey. It's in New Jersey, technically. It's in New Jersey waters. Okay? Now, people that have researched 9/11, and we're not going to go into it, Dave, Don't worry about that. But I'm just saying, researching 9/11 and always looking at the imagery and stuff, as so many of us have, for different reasons, official or non-official imagery, and you would look at it from across the water, and you would look at the towers. The statue used to be right there on the left in all the shots. If anybody looks at any of the images...
Morning, noon, and bite. It's buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's. Choose from a sausage biscuit, hash browns, McChicken biscuit, or other morning faves. At lunch or dinner, enjoy a McChicken, McDouble, small fries, and more. Buy one, get one for $1. You can get 2 of the same item or mix and match them. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
A new Peacock original series from Will Smith and Westbrook Studios.
Where are we going?
You're gonna stay with your aunt and your uncle.
You get one shot.
What the hell is my life?
At a second chance.
There's no going back.
Bel-Air, streaming now, only on Peacock.
Imagery now, even the imagery you have on your computer, look for the Statue of Liberty. It's so far off to the left now because it's in New Jersey. It's completely ridiculous. We haven't even talked about the cosmetic changes yet, just the location.
Wow.
So, cosmetically, the Statue of Liberty. If I asked you, what is the shape of the platform on the ground that the Statue of Liberty sits on? What shape is it?
I have no idea. I'm way too Canadian.
So, Statue of Liberty was always a square on top of another square for me. Square on top of another square. Statue of Liberty is now sitting on top of a star fort, which I didn't ever see any star forts before about 2017.
A lot of people saying 6-point star.
Yeah. Yep. Surprised on that one. Also, the Statue of Liberty. In this reality, so the torch right now is 24 karat gold, right? 24 karat gold. But in this reality, the torch has been 24 karat gold since 1986, which there's no way. My whole life, that torch was like that tarnished green color until just a few years ago. Now, I do remember the renovations in 1986. I'm not calling that a Mandela effect. But if you look at the Statue of Liberty now and you see the all-gold torch, it's been that way for like 30 years, dude. Which, man, for me, that's absolutely crazy. Also, the Statue of Liberty is now stepping off the platform with one leg coming off with chains around her feet. So there's a lot of changes with it. But then on top of that, this is where it gets crazy. Now I'm going to segue into the events. The Statue of Liberty is involved in what I call my biggest Mandela effect, and that's Black Tom. So all growing up, if I were to ask anybody in this chat, what is the first major foreign attack on U.S. soil? And I've already asked you this before, Dave, so I'm not going to ask you. What would you guys say? Okay. So most people, like myself, through the years of school, indoctrination, of course, television, media, indoctrination, of course, and my research into conspiracies, 9/11 and such, I was always told that the first foreign attack on U.S. soil was Pearl Harbor. Now, that's completely changed because now it's Black Tom. And the crazy thing is, just like with Ed McMahon, nobody ever heard of American Family Publishing. I've asked probably 1,000 people, right? Nobody's ever heard of Black Tom. In fact, when I bring up Black Tom, they usually like, who the heck is he? Black Tom is now the first major foreign attack on U.S. soil. Listen to this story and think about the location and then think how you didn't know about it. And then we're going to add another twist to it at the end. The story of Black Tom is in 1916, 2 German spies snuck in through New Jersey, blew up another island that's out there called Black Tom Island. There's all these islands out there now outside in New York waters. They blew up Black Tom Island. They had a munitions depot, okay? They blew up the munitions depot. Now they're saying it was 1 million pounds. They say pound? No, 1 million tons. It's a ridiculous number. 1 million tons of TNT, all right, that they blew up, 1916, in the New York City waters. It killed like 4 or 5 people, injured 120, caused like 50 million in damage, right? And not only that, though, it damaged the torch of the Statue of Liberty so bad that nobody's ever been there since in the torch. Now, a lot of problems here. First problem is, how is it we have never heard of this? Ever. Second problem is, how is it that anybody that wants to deny the Mandela effect and call me crazy, how is it that now I've just introduced a whole new slew of people to the first foreign attack on U.S. soil? Why is it always me that's introducing people to these huge historical events? But on top of that, Dave, we know people that have been to the torch. I've spoken to several people that have been up in the torch of the Statue of Liberty, but it's not possible in this reality because the torch has been closed since 1916. Now think about 9/11 when that came, right? No matter what anybody's view is on that, the media is going to use the the Statue of Liberty was attacked before, and here we are again. The idea that that would never be brought up after that event is ridiculous. But we've spoken to people that have been to the torch. I bet you there's people in your chat that have been to the torch. But it could have never happened in this reality because it's been closed since 1916. It's a gigantic Mandela effect. Everything to do with Black Tom, the Statue of Liberty, and all of that. On top of all that, Dave, it just keeps going. So now Germany keeps attacking us. And I want to talk about a couple of those unless you have any questions about Black Tom first.
No, we're good to move on here, my friend. We're good to move on here.
So there's another one I talked about. So people are like, wow, and I'm blowing people's mind with this. Then another one pops up where there's 5,000 Americans killed in 1941 by 8 German submarines that made it over to North Carolina, sat just a few hundred feet out off of the North Carolina coast, and sunk 500 of our merchant ships and killed 5,000 Americans. You know what's interesting about that? They say that the savior of the Americans at the end of this battle or whatever was this dog because he did some actions on the boat. I don't know, he barked at the right time, whatever. I forget what they said he did. But they heralded this dog around now in this reality. Like, he looks like Triumph the Insult comic dog, and they call him a war hero. You know what this dog's name is? The hero of this attack that never happened? The dog's name is Sinbad. So it's like reality.
Interesting, man.
There's more, though. I think I brought this up the last time I was on, but since I came on the last time, now there's another attack. Now the Germans have attacked us again in 1918. They attacked New Jersey again. There's an incident called the Kingsland explosions, where they say 46 buildings were blown up, all in one area, plus other ones that caught fire when 500,000 rounds of artillery were launched into the air in New Jersey, in this city. So New Jersey, again, getting buried by German spies that caused this. Kingsland explosions, guys. And then I got one more, and it's a personal Mandela effect, and it has to do with the Germans, and it has to do with me. And it's crazy.
Well, let's hear that.
And how do you guys not know about Black Tom? And I'm not mocking anybody. I didn't know either. This is what I'm saying, though. How did we all not know about Black Tom, Torpedo Alley, the Kingsland explosions now with most people, even in the Mandela community, I don't know if they know about the Kingsland. And then on top of that, so there's all these German attacks, Dave, and this is the type of stuff that I like to cover because anybody can tell you about the Berenstain Bears and Fruit Loops, right? You want to show people how significant this is, right? So I'm probably covering the German attacks aspect of it more than most people, so it's something I focus on a lot. It really interests me. Now, in this reality, there's another attack. Now Germans have actually torpedoed U.S. soil. Now, it's very interesting where this went down. There's a town in Massachusetts called Orleans. Okay? And there's a beach over there. Now, there's only 4,000 people in the town. There's a beach over there called Nauset Beach. Now the Germans torpedoed Nauset Beach. Now, you know what else is at Nauset Beach? If you look out my mother's back window of her house, this is where the Germans torpedoed now. It's like the Mandela effect is trolling me. In this reality now, there's another German attack that just popped up in my timeline where Germans torpedoed this random beach in Cape Cod, Massachusetts that would never be a target, right? And literally, I shown pictures last year outside my mother's window. She lives on that beach, and it's a small beach for a small Cape Cod town. Like, the chances of this being a coincidence are ridiculous. And even if you guys aren't blown away by the personal tie I have to that, I believe the fact that there's another German attack and they torpedoed Massachusetts should blow your mind, because there were no German attacks on U.S. soil. And it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than that with Germany. Signs and symbols everywhere are changed. You guys know about the Ford logo probably. It's changed. The F now has a curly thing in it. The Volkswagen logo, which is a big one for me. We can talk about that later. That's one that really bothers me. But the Volkswagen logo, the V and the W, no longer merged. Now it's always been separated in this reality. But there's bigger stuff than that. Logos. Take a look at the swastika, Dave. The swastika has been changed. The German swastika now does not match all the other swastikas of the past. It does not match the orientation of the Big Dipper in the sky because it's now inverted at a 45-degree angle. So the German swastika is now at a 45-degree angle. All these German attacks have happened. Hitler has blue eyes. All these German names are changing. FAO Schwarz, the famous toy store in New York, lost the T. Always FAO Schwarz. Charles M. Schultz lost that T. Always Charles M. Schultz. Haas avocados have never existed. They've always been Haas avocados. H-A-S-S instead of H-A-A-S as we remember. And that's a German name. Rudolf Haas is now Rudolf. Rudolf Haas is now Rudolf Haas. And the word Haas in German means hate. Werner von Braun, the Nazi rocket scientist who was brought over to start the NASA space program, basically. Werner von Braun is Mandela affected. He now has an H in his name. It used to be W-E-R-N-E-R. Now it's W-E-R-N-H-E-R. Completely ridiculous. And let me show you one piece of residue for the people that are watching on video, Dave. We talked about Haas avocados, and I have something here I want to show people real quick. And how do I let me just shut my virtual camera off. How the heck do I get in my settings? Here we go. Sorry about that. Let me just show people this that are watching. So, Haas, this is the way we remember it. This shouldn't even exist. It's never been spelled this way in this reality. Yet I have physical residue. For some reason, this package has not shifted. And it was very interesting because there's a story behind this. Saw it on a website. I think it was for Kroger's, whatever the store is called. It had Haas, H-A-A-S, as we remember. So I tried to buy it, and it wouldn't ship it to me, right? So I tried to change an address. Told me the product didn't exist, right? So then it redirected me, and it showed this package, but it had the new spelling, H-A-S-S, Haas, which nobody's ever heard of until recently, right? So what had happened is I made a video about it, right? A couple of my listeners, they went into two stores, two Kroger's near them, opposite sides of the country. One comes back with the bag that says H-A-S-S. One comes back with this and mails it to me. On top of that, if you go to Walmart right now, if you go to Kroger's, if you go to, I forget what the third one was, inside their POS system in the store, you can still see it says H-A-A-S. Their computers have not even updated yet. In this reality, look up Haas avocados. It's HASS, always has been. Another German change. Goes on and on. Here's another one for you, another piece of physical residue. I'm in a store the other day. I see this. I'm not a store. I'm in a restaurant that's giving away books. Cool restaurant. They give away books if you eat a meal. So we decided to go there and check it out. I'm like, I bet you I'm going to find Mandela Effect residue in there like crazy, right? Well, it wasn't a book. It was a puzzle right away when I saw it. So people might be like, well, what's the residue there? Look at these cute dogs, Dalmatians. Google the word Dalmatian, guys. Dalmatian has changed. This is not how you spell Dalmatian now. This is how I know it was. And I became aware of this change a few years ago. So anybody that's not looking at the video, I have a box up that says Dalmatian, spelled the ending of it Tion. Well, in this reality now, it's Tian. When I first heard it was the Disney movie.
Let's go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Dalmatians. Hey, the Mandela Effect in full circle. We have Brian Staveley from DoseOfRealityShow.com. Check it on out. We'll be back.
I'm going to go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you go right in. Gorgeous Candy Romero. She'll be going to the Vegas party, as well as many others, April 22nd to 24th. In Las Vegas, we are having a SOR fan party, hanging on out in Sin City on Fremont Street at the Golden Nugget. We'd love it if all of you could attend. First 50 people will get a swag bag, courtesy of moi, because that's the way we do things around here. Yeah, that's the way we do it. And, yeah, it's going to be a good time, man. Good time. All right. All right, let's go like this. Bring that up there. Go like this. Yeah, Dirty Filth is going. We got a list of really cool speakers, too, that'll hang out with us. Mr. Super Sidewinder, welcome to our channel. Thank you for joining. My neck and head have been hurting all day. Yep, all day. Let's see, who's our list of speakers or people who've been on this show coming to Vegas for the party? Let's see, Science Bob is going to be there. Nate Rudd and his son Hallmark Corey are going to be there. Carter Bouchart's going to be there. Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Rick Doty is going to be there. Grant Cameron, maybe. Maybe Nicole Sackich, we don't know yet. Let's find out about, let's see, George Knapp is going to be there. Maybe Sean Cahill. Jim.
Hey, y'all. We're the Antonellis. And we own Antonelli's Cheese Shop in Austin, Texas.
With our Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One, we earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase. And it has no preset spending limit.
So our purchasing power adapts to our business needs.
We use our cash back to help take care of our most valuable asset.
Our people.
It may sound cheesy,
but we like it that way.
Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus.
Today, what business needs most is creativity. So let's create AI with integrity, not bias. Security that hunts for threats in the wild. Cloud management that requires less management. And new ways for business to do business. Let's create, at scale, right now, together. Let's prototype. Let's tweak. Let's test. Let's adapt. Let's create something that changes everything. IBM. Let's create. Learn more at IBM.com.
Goodall is going to be there. Michael Schrad is going to be there. Ben and Joe from UFO Garage. Dirty Filth is going to be there. Lynn Wallington is going to be there. I believe Thin Lizzy and Gemma Jade are going to be there. So we got a huge lineup. Melinda Leslie, Lorian Fenton, Geraldine Orozco. They're all coming. All to hang out with all of you. So come to our Vegas party. April 22nd to 24th. We're going to absolutely rock it. And, come hang out. Everybody's invited. The only thing that I'm saying that you got to pay for that entire weekend of hanging out with us is for, I believe it's $25 that we're going to charge for the live show. $25 for the live show. That's it. That's a drop in the bucket. Right? Drop in the bucket for a great weekend in Vegas, hanging out, talking the woo all night long and all day long and then all night and then all day. All right. We got about 2 minutes here. Let's go. Where are we here? There we are. All right, we got about just over a minute here, bud.
Cool, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Remind me there's a few newer name changes I want to talk
Sure.
about if I forget, all right?
Well, let's get right into that when we come back here.
Yeah, let me just talk about the American flag, and then we'll do that.
Sure. I want to say thank you to all of Brian's listeners who've come in here for the first time, maybe not hearing of our show. Hope we did enough to allow you to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, as we are here 7 days a week for you, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, Monday through Friday, and then on the weekend starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, right through 11 p.m. Pacific as well. A big thank you to Smithy, Belinda, Tim, Aiden, Rex, Fap, Dirt Road, Ed, Filth, Jeff, Rob, and Dry Toast. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Appreciate you tuning us on in. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, as well as TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Brian Staveley. He is from doseofrealityshow.com. You can check him out on YouTube, Twitch, Odyssey, a number of different channels. Brian, thank you so much. You have a Mandela effect regarding the United States flag. Let's get right to it.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones. This is so ridiculous, the amount of residue. And again, when we say residue, we mean leftover physical evidence. We really didn't talk about residue too much tonight, but what it is like, so when the Mandela effect happens, the official versions of, will change of these things. But parodies that are done, drawings that are done, skits on shows that are done, offshoots that are made, merchandise that is made, most of this stuff all remains the way it was created. The American flag. The American flag used to look like this. Now, obviously, this is missing some stars and some stripes because it's much smaller. It's a placemat. Anybody that's just not watching the video right now and is listening, I'm showing an American flag with the red stripe right underneath the blue box of stars. This is how it was when I used to put my right hand over the left side of my chest where my heart used to be. When I used to stare at the American flag, they called it the blood stripe. Now, in this reality, it's always been, since the Mandela effect changed it about 5 years ago for a lot of us, so whenever this shift was, and it's not always the same time for everybody. Now the white stripe is under the blue on all the American flags in the world, which looks completely foreign to me. Now, everywhere I go to a lot of beaches and stuff. I like to get out and talk to people, and I go to the shops. There's so much residue. When I say residue, I mean stuff like I just held up with the red stripe under the blue. I mean, I've done so many videos on it. Everywhere I go, red stripe under the blue. I mean, every show I show several more of these that people send me. Red stripe under the blue. This is what the American flag looked like. Now it's the white stripe under the blue. Now let's think. We just talked about how Germany's been whipping our butt now in this reality for the last 100 years, right? What does a white flag mean?
SOS. You give up. Peace. Don't want to fight anymore.
Maybe we lost the war now. Maybe we lost the war now in this reality, right? And the U.S. flag isn't the only one that's changed, but
what other flags?
Isn't that crazy?
What other flags have you noticed changed?
Well, one I can speak of for sure, and then we'll leave it at that, is the Union Jack. If you look at the Union Jack now, much like King Tut, it's no longer symmetrical at all. The red stripes that are inside the white, the cross stripes, are now completely off-centered, and it looks ridiculous. So, two of the biggest countries, their flags have changed, and I'm sure there's many more. I've never been an expert on flags, so I'm going to stay with what I know. But listen, we have Mandela effect channels all over the world, especially in the UK. There's people, Japan, Spanish-speaking countries. I'm sure I don't speak Spanish, but I know that there's channels that cover it. So this isn't just an American thing. I know that there's a lot of changes that seem that way, but think again, how much media is American, movies and Hollywood and products. So of course a lot of them are going to be American. But there's stuff everywhere. There's local changes everywhere. You know, I was out in California. I'm going to speak of a local change to somewhere that I'm not even from, okay? Because I can do that based on evidence. I go out to California, and there's a town out there that I was told that changed shortly before I got out there. That's Fillmore, California. It used to be Filmore. Now it's Fill. It's a famous place because a lot of musicians have played there at one of the venues there. Now it's Fillmore. Yet, when I did a video addressing this, I addressed it on a live stream. I didn't do like a short video on it. But I went to websites of all the different local businesses around there, and they list their address on the website in text that they put in personally. And I found about 20 of them that all spelled it with one L. Even though, in this reality, it's always been two. Now, recently, there's been name changes of people you might know. So recently, it's been in the news that Meatloaf died. Remember Meatloaf?
Yes.
Meatloaf's a Mandela effect. Now, I just did a video on it. Meatloaf is now 2 words. Now, for those of us that have been paying attention to this, his name actually changed a few years ago. Meatloaf, 2 words, not 1. 2 words. And actually, a lot of people remember him dying before. Another one, Gordon Ramsay is now Gordon Ramsay. The E in his last name has changed to an A. Gordon Ramsay is Gordon Ramsay. Here's a more significant one that's not new. Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar is now Caesar. The A and the E are switched. The A is before the E now. This, of course, affects things named after it, like Caesar's Palace, Little Caesars. All of these have changed, and it looks like Caesar instead of Caesar. Let's talk about more symbols that are tied into things in this reality that have changed that people should pay attention to. There's one symbol that particular There's a lot of patterns and punctuations that pop up with the Mandela effect. S is being dropped, right? You know about this. Sally Fields is now Sally Field. Christopher Reeves has now always been Christopher Reeve. Things like that. Apostrophes in places that they don't really belong. Weird punctuation. Single L's change into double L. Mark Hamill used to be one L. Sybil Shepherd, she used to have one L. They both end in two L's now. Mark Hamill is Hamill now. He used to be Hamil, at least for me. There's a lot of this going on. But let's talk about symbols. So you know the Kia logo has been Mandela affected. If you don't know, look at the Kia logo, guys. There's not an A on there. There's a thing called a lambda. It's a Greek letter. It's like an upside-down V, an A with no cross through it. Even if you own a Kia, doesn't matter how old it is, go out and look at it, it's going to have that symbol on it. Now, this symbol has been popping up in various logos around the world from the Mandela effect. And as well, there are companies now that do think it's a cool logo and do use that as a font, and that's just a company rebranding something. That goes on too, absolutely. Okay? But we keep seeing this in our face. It's been in our face. And again, not to get into the topic, but the current thing that's going on right now, one of the versions of the so said thing, lambda. All these little, one of the variants they called lambda, you know?
Okay, I see where you're going with that. All right.
Yeah, so I know we don't really want to go down that road, but, you know, things are pointing out different things in this reality, correlating with these changes, you know?
A lot of people...
Here's an interesting thing. Sorry, go ahead.
A lot of people have looked at this and they say, look, could this have any ties to what's happening with the CERN and the Hadron Collider there, or was this a change that happened at the end of the Mayan calendar where things all of a sudden shifted? Does that have anything to do with this alternative realities that we're seeing?
I would give a lot more credibility to the Mayan thing than the CERN thing, and I can give my opinions on all this. So why don't I get into some theories? Want me to get into some theories real quick?
Yeah, please.
Starting to wind down. So I'll start with, I kind of gave you guys an idea of what I thought it was earlier, so I'll tell you guys why I don't think it's certain things. I personally don't think there was a jumping off point. Like, I don't think, like, in 2012 this started. You know, I don't think in 2015 this started. I think, and when you get into this topic for a lot longer, and you talk to people, which I do, I take phone calls all the time on my show. So, guys, if you're experiencing this, you're going to love my show because I take live calls every night. You guys can call in with people that get it, okay? But we've talked to people that recognized things. Like you talked about some of the media changes or whatever, or the brands, Febreze or whatever. There's people that have recognized these changes like 20 years ago, you know? They just didn't know what was going on, and there was nobody to talk to. There was no Mandela effect, right? They just maybe thought the company changed it, but it was really weird, and they were really sure, but they might have never researched it, and then they researched it later. Some of the old cultures, like you talked about the Mayans, the Hopi, and all this, talked about things like these reality shifts. So in my opinion, this has been going on forever. I think it is increasing, and that could be to do with Mayan prophecy, 2012. People think end of days. People talk about the end of the church ages, all these different theories that people have. People talk about this place maybe going through a reset. I don't know if that stuff's true, but maybe that's why this is increasing, right? Because it seems like it's really increasing in the last few years, and especially the last few months. As far as CERN, I think CERN is there to hijack it. I talked about this earlier. They don't want you to think the Mandela effect is real. But if you do realize it's more than just companies and logos and brands changing and different versions of the Bible and newer projections of math, if you start to realize, whoa, this is actually changing physical matter. Events are appearing in the past. My anatomy is changing. Well, they don't want you to think it's God. They don't like that idea. They want you to think it's them and their men and their machine. And that's why when people first get into the Mandela effect, they almost all believe it's CERN and D-Wave computers. Now, there's people I do know that I respect a lot that are very intelligent, that a few of them do believe it is that, and that's cool. Again, this is just my take on it. I have seen nothing but a clear agenda from mainstream science and the mainstream media to hide the supernatural. And if people do see it, they want to hijack it. That's why they made this commercial with like the scientist from CERN, and he's holding the sign that says like Bond. These are red herrings, people. They want you to look at that. And yeah, I've seen the satanic ritual outside the Gotham tunnel and all that. I've seen that. That doesn't prove their science. So for me, supernatural, I think it comes from the creator. Do I think it's different timelines? Could we have shifted a timeline? Sure, that might have happened. I know some people believe that, but in my opinion, because we see incremental changes, Dave, in front of us. Like, for instance, the lion and the lamb changing to the wolf didn't change all at once in every version. Changed in the KJV first, okay? So then we see these things happen in front of us incrementally. The Statue of Liberty, the figure statue, like this, then like this. That's incremental. So if we all move from one spot to another, wouldn't we have all seen the change happen at once, not incrementally? Also, if it was a big timeline shift or an old Earth, new Earth type of thing, I believe we would all see the exact same changes as each other, those of us that notice it. But that's not always the case. We're kind of all in our own individual reality. You don't see the change until the first time you observe it after it's kind of presented to you. It's a little weird how it works. But yeah, I don't think it's machine or man doing it. I think they would love for you to believe that. But I do think that that most of it's coming from the creator. There's also something I used to talk about. I don't talk about it as much. There's definitely a possibility that it's us causing some of it as well with our collective conscious, with us manifesting some of this. How does all that work? Some of it seems way too random for that. Maybe some of it's not. I also believe that there's a lot of synchronicities that those that us that are Mandela affected, and recognize it are starting to see now. And I think we're being extra guided by the creator on our journey. I speak really passionate about this. Some people might think I get too aggressive.
Hi, I'm Randy, and this is Dave.
We're the founders of Bombas, the most comfortable socks in the history of feet.
So comfortable, we sold and donated millions of pairs.
To sell and donate a lot of socks, we became obsessed with comfort.
We reinvented the sock from the ground up, adding comfort innovations along the way.
It worked. People tried them, loved them, told their friends about them,
helping us sell and donate millions of pairs.
Try them now at bombas.com/comfy and get 20% off your first order. That's BOMBAS.com/comfy.
Morning, noon, and bite. It's buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's. Choose from a sausage biscuit, hash browns, McChicken biscuit, or other morning faves. At lunch or dinner, enjoy a McChicken, McDouble, small fries, and more. Buy one, get one for $1. You can get two of the same item or mix and match them. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
If I get loud on my channel or whatever, it's just like, man, I've been watching people bury their head in the sand about this for years. It's the most profound thing ever. And again, like people that are into the Bible or whatever, right? Religious people, you want to talk about a book with supernatural stories, yet the supernatural changes are here, and you want to deny them and hide them. And it's very disturbing, you know. This is very important, whatever it is, whatever it's causing. My theories, again, could be completely wrong, and your theories about different timelines or certain, that could be right. Cool. This is happening. This is happening. It's profound. Everybody needs to address it, you know.
I want to ask you
That's
this, you know, because this is one thing that I've wondered about regarding the Mandela effect, Brian. Is it possible that the Mandela effect affects us individually, which is the reason why many people look at some of your examples and saying, well, it hasn't been that way for me, or maybe I'm not misremembering things, but, you know, could it be individual?
Well, it is individual as far as... Yeah, well, my take is like we're all standing in this one reality. Mandela effect comes through like a stew of frequencies with a bunch of other stuff, right? And it permeates through us, most of us, at about the same time, you know, but not always at the same time. Sometimes we do see changes at different times, and I know that we've both been looking at it. It's happened to me, for sure. there was a change, a Star Wars change that happened that me and a friend observed, and I didn't see it until about a year after he did, which was very strange because we were looking at the same image. So we are definitely in our own individual reality.
Okay, but say, for instance, what happens in my reality, like the David Weatherly book that I mentioned earlier, that hasn't happened anywhere else, is that possible that all of us individually are having our own Mandela effects, and mine might be different from yours?
Yeah, that could be. But I would, if you're at, like, so for example, that book, right? If I were to go look for that book that doesn't exist for you, I bet it would not exist for me either, though, if that's kind of what you're asking.
Well, that's what, individually speaking, yes. I mean, look, there are things that you have stated tonight, that I remember as being what they are today. But in your reality, it's a little bit different. So I'm wondering if maybe the shift affects other people or every individual a little bit differently.
Yeah, definitely. But for the most part, I will say, like, somebody that's highly affected, and once you present them the changes, something that you both know, you'll probably they probably agree with about 80% of them. But to some of them, definitely. Like, I'll give you an example. One of the biggest ones that people talk about is Darth Vader's quote from Empire Strikes Back. And, most people say it's Luke, I am your father, but the current reality is no, I am your father. I remember him saying, no, I am your father. It's always been that for me. But I've seen so much residue of the other side. In fact, I've even seen it come out of James Earl Jones' mouth himself, telling you that the script said, Luke, I am your father. But I always remember it the way it is. Just like you said, you remembered some of the things tonight. And that's one of the biggest Mandela effects there is out there for some people, But again, whether I'm just on a different reality on that one, or whether, maybe that one isn't one or whatever, there's still thousands. So you have to remember, like, if you looked at 100 of my Mandela effects, sure, there might be 10 that don't resonate with you, maybe 20, right? And you do know of them, and you're like, no, it's always been this way for me. What's Brian talking about, right? What about the other 80 that hit you, though? Like, yeah, you can say that some of them aren't changes for you, but what about the ones that are? What if there's even one that is definitely a change for you? The people that I talked about earlier, I talked about Matthew 18:20, where 2 or more are gathered, is now 2 or 3. Open it. It doesn't even matter what version Bible you have. Open it. Or how about if you're a KJV person? Because there's many people that are KJV specific, right? And there are KJV specific changes. The first line of your Bible, God created the heavens and the earth. You should open your Bible and check and read it. Heavens is now singular, and he created the heaven and earth. And if you look at your Lord's Prayer in the KJV, my Lord, completely butchered, used to say, Our Father who art in heaven. It now says, Our Father which art. It used to say on earth. It now says in earth. It used to say forgive us our trespasses. And it now says debts and debtors. Doesn't matter if you have a 1611 King James Bible. Now, let's get specific with the residue and the variations of the Bible. There are other variations of the Bible where the Lord's Prayer does say, who art and on earth still. But if you remember trespasses, it's not in there. I don't care if you have an NKJV, an ESB. Sure, you can show me a Catholic book of prayers, but it's not in any of the Bibles. Matrix is in your KJV 6 times now, I believe. Jesus is carrying a couch. He's hung from a tree. Moses is carrying tables instead of tablets. Planets is in the Bible where it wasn't. Kings 2:23-5. It's just, it goes on and on, man. On and on. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Nowhere in the Bible. It's completely changed. Do unto is not in there. Okay? Judge not, lest ye be judged. I believe it's Matthew 7:1. That's not in there now. Now it's opposite. It's like, judge not, lest ye be not judged. Pretty big difference. But when you bring these up to a lot of people, they'll just say, oh, I was just paraphrasing. Oh, you're just paraphrasing. So it insults you that I bring it up, but you're just paraphrasing what Jesus said.
Right.
I get it.
Okay, I got to ask with 3 minutes to go. There's a lot of people tonight who've brought up the Prince song 1999. I remember that being one of my favorite songs growing up when it came out. And I remember thinking, man, it's so far away, 1999. I'm going to be 27 years old. Man, I'm going to be old and everything. So what changed in this song, man?
So tonight, blank, party like it's 1999. Fill in the blank. Tonight, party like it's 1999. What's the word that goes in that?
There's two. Tonight, we're gonna party like it's 1999.
You better check the video. I wouldn't play it now on YouTube with the copyright, but he now says, tonight, I'm gonna party like it's 1999.
Oh, no.
I remember where as well. So did I see the chat now. And I made a post about it last night. And the guy that's in the chat, Money Bags, made a video. And it's everybody remembers where. Not everybody. There are a few people I know that do recognize Mandela effects. A couple said but so many where. And you just went on how it's such a big song to you. Play it. It's really weird. And I played it last night on my show. You know what's funny about these Mandela effects? Sometimes with these music changes, you go to look at the video, right? Weird things happen. Sometimes, a lot, the audio will change, right? But the video hasn't changed yet. And their lips still look like they're saying what it used to be. But sometimes when you go to look for that, it looks like they're hiding their lips. And you go and look at the Prince video where he's singing this, and it's like right when he goes and says, where you remember him saying where, now he says, tonight I'm going to party. He puts the microphone right where it covers his whole mouth, dude. It's crazy. It's funny. You're going to laugh, dude. So, it is no longer where.
Brian, 1 minute left with you tonight. Tell everybody where they can find your channels and your information.
All right, so you guys just missed out because the last few months I did a ton of Killer Mandela Effect roundtables and stuff on my YouTube channel, but I'm back on 2 strikes. So basically, I am live streaming everything on Rockfin, ROKFIN.com, but I'm also multi-streaming most shows to Twitch, Twitter, DLive, and Facebook. So right now you can't access my videos on my YouTube channel. I had to make them private so they don't give me a third strike and terminate it. All you guys need to do to find me is go to therealnewsonline.com or doseofrealityshow.com. Just click my links and you'll see all my channels and stuff are there. As far as all my videos, you can still access all 1,400 of them on my Odyssey. It just doesn't, the view counts don't really reflect what's going on. They'll show 20 or 30 views rather than a couple thousand. But it is an archive of all my videos. You could even search videos by the title of what you want on my Odyssey. But if you want to support me or follow me, my live streams, Rockfin, ROKFIN.com. Just search Brian S. Staveley on any platform, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you want to find me. Brian S. Staveley will bring up my channels. It's just my YouTube channel looks like it has nothing on it right now.
Right on. Brian Staveley, thanks for being a great friend here on Spaced Out Radio, talking Mandela Effect all night long. Coming up next, we head to the swamp with Swamp Dweller, and the fedora-wearing John Hudson brings us a UFO report. Next on Spaced Out Radio. Right on, buddy. Right on. Great show. Thank you, Brian.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Thank you, brother.
And we encourage all of your listeners, I know you're saying goodnight, but we encourage all of your listeners to hang out. If this is your first time listening to us, to figure out what we say on and do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you for sharing the show and bringing all your listeners over to hang out with us, man.
Yeah, dude, for sure. And I know you guys talk about Bigfoot a lot.
Yeah.
Let me recommend a guest for you. My co-host, Karen B. She loves Bigfoot. Maybe you should reach out to her.
Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Get me your contact info, and we'll chat some Sasquatch with her.
Awesome, and I'll reach out to you soon and have you on my show like we talked about, brother. That'll be great.
All right, brother.
All right, I'll hang out in the chat for a little bit, dude. Thank you.
You take care. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to step away for a couple of seconds here, and I will be right back. So stay tuned. Hi to everyone. We're going to get going here in about 2 minutes. And we'll have some fun. Started SAS today. What's that, Michael? Oh, Sasquatch. Oh, are you carving another one? That's pretty awesome. Mr. M.E. Sagittarius Arms Society, welcome to SOR Chat. Not feeling good, but that's okay. Tits McGee's here, filling in for the vacationing Veronica Corningstone. And I want to say a big thank you to Smithy, Belinda, Tim, Aiden, Rex, Fapster, Dirt Road, Ed Clater, Dirty Filth, Jeff, Aussie Rob, and Dry Toast for the amazing super chats. Thank you so much for the love and support you give us on this show on a nightly basis. It really helps out what we are doing. And a big thank you to everyone tuning in, including the veterans out there who were hanging on out. Welcome to SOR, and you always had a safe place here. Here we go, everyone, with the third hour.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Zerosis. Zerosis is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, as well as TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Yes, it is that time once again in the night where we go to the swamp and Mr. Swamp Dweller from YouTube tells us another spooky story right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp.
This all took place when I was 14. It was a Saturday, and we were going camping in one of the more rural parts of Jamaica. I won't name the place for privacy reasons, but first, here's some background. As I said, I'm 14 years old, about 5'3", and a medium frame build. In other words, I was a big kid. Anyway, back to the story. Where we were going from where we lived was about an hour and a half worth of driving. When we get there, we get our stuff from the truck and started hiking to a good spot. We come across a nice, calm, crisp-looking stream. So we decided to stop, get our fishing poles out, and get some dinner right away. About 2 hours later, we pack up and start again. By now, it's about 4:30 p.m., and we finally find a good enough spot and set up. Suddenly, we pick up this awful, pungent stench. It's honestly like expired sour cream and rotten eggs mixed in a toilet that hadn't been cleaned for years and left in the sun. I felt chills go down my spine and a wave of dread rush over me when I heard the most shrillest, ear-piercing screech I had ever heard in my life. I grabbed the sawed-off double-barrel shotgun and ran inside the tent. I fell asleep quickly, despite it being only 6 p.m. But at about 2 a.m., I had awoken to the sound of a branch snapping. To make matters worse, I had to pee very bad. Me, being a horror movie enthusiast, knew all too well what could be happening in this situation. I laid still with my double-barrel shotgun in my hand, ready to fire if it came to the test. Fast forward about 10 minutes later when I heard my uncle scream. I quickly woke my dad up, who was sleeping next to me, and slowly walked out of the tent, thinking he was just trying to play a trick on us. Nothing could have ever prepared me for what I saw. This thing was at least 8 feet tall. It had the smell that I described earlier. It had 2 horns sticking out of its head, but they were deformed looking. I don't know how to explain it. It stood on 2 awfully man-like legs. I thought I was in hell looking at the devil himself. It probably wasn't more than a second or two before I fired a shot at this thing's leg. It jolted back, so human-like, a little too human-like. Then it happened. This thing turned around and acknowledged us, almost as if it wanted to speak. And it kind of did. I don't exactly remember what it said, or what it sounded like it was saying, I should say, but it spoke in a deep, raspy voice. I remember it had hellish red gleaming eyes that stared through my soul. Then I shot it again. This time in the back of its disgusting devil-like back covered with white, dirty, disgusting-looking fur. After about 5 seconds or so, the thing ran off into the woods, leaving a trail of blood. I looked over at my uncle. He was almost in tears, and, as was my dad, they were both frozen in fear. I don't know what the heck it was, and I don't know how I wasn't in fear either. We all stayed in one tent, packing our stuff up and planning to book it back to the truck as soon as the sun came up. After about 7 hours, the sun finally came up and we did as planned. When we got to the truck, we started to drive out of there like bats out of hell. On the ride home, we didn't say a word, nor did we when we got home. You'd think the story ends here. Well, not all fairy tales have happy endings. About 2 weeks later, we went down to the countryside to look for my aunt, uncle, and cousins. The drive was about 3 hours away from where we lived, so we were going to spend the night with them. When we get there, we see them all standing in the front patio waiting for us with a look of joy on their faces. Now, to describe the place, it was about a 5-acre, empty woodland area, but it had great lighting around the house from the LED solar-powered lights. Anyway, after about 10 minutes of walking and catching up, we all go inside and make our way to the bathrooms to freshen up. When I'm finished, I get out and make my way to the room I'm staying in, and my 2 cousins, Brian and Mario, who were both 6 at the time, came in and wanted to play Forza. When it was about 10 p.m., I decided that I was going to bed. I said my goodnights and went up to the room. It was dark, but I did not bother to turn on the light. I just went straight over to the bed and tucked in. I heard the door open, but I just brushed it off as my cousins. About 2 hours later, Mario comes in, turns on the light and screams. I will never forget the look on his face when I asked, "What's wrong?" He looked at me as if he had just killed someone accidentally. It was almost as if he wanted to say oops and started raging. He was in total awe. It was the thing from earlier. It just walked over to the open window, which was about 2 stories off the ground, made its way down and walked away into the woods like nothing ever happened. It moved so human-like, so disgusting, so purposely. When everyone ran up to us and asked what happened, when we finished telling them the story, Brian simply said, "Goat man." Fortunately, this was the last time I personally had an experience with this creature, and I hope I never will again. But sometimes I still wonder what would have happened if I turned on the light, or if Mario didn't come in when he did. Or if he had laid down next to this thing without bothering to turn on the light. I'm glad I don't know.
All right, big thank you to Mr. Swamp Dweller for coming on in with another wonderful Swamp Dweller story. Yes, you can find his channel at YouTube by going to Swamp Dweller Reads. Check out all of his fantastic stories that he has collected over the years. It is time once again where we bring in the fedora-wearing John Hudson and the unbiased UFO Report. Yes, John Hudson is here keeping us up to date on what's going on in the world of UFOs, and a lot of big news coming out of the weekend and right into this week as well. Fedora John, we'll get you to unmute there and bring us all up to date. How you been doing, my friend?
Doing good. How's everybody? Thank you for sticking around. Quite an evening, huh?
Quite an evening indeed, and you know what? I'm excited to see what you got for us tonight, because even though it's been slow, there's been a lot of loud voices in the UFO world recently, man.
Yeah, and loud's not always good. So the first topic, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to talk about this one. I just, to me, this is just, I'll try to see the brighter side of this. But what I'm talking about is this whole kerfuffle going on about what Elizondo said in his interview, where he brought up this 5-year-old NSA document and basically implied to the audience that it was a new document. And unfortunately, he was just using that document as an example of essentially how everything that's been going on seems to be making it easier for the government to release things. So he was just using it as an example of that. Unfortunately, he got the story from the Sun, and if you're not familiar with the Sun isn't always the most accurate periodical available. And so they had basically respun up an article that was a couple years old and served it up as new, which is unfortunately very typical for periodicals like that to do. It's something you always have to be careful of. And essentially Elizondo just got caught, right? I mean, he just basically didn't dig deep enough, because he wasn't really talking about that article. He was just using it as an example. He got caught. He came forward and said, I got caught. I didn't know. Sorry. I thought I could trust the data. I was wrong. No big deal. And to me, that should just be the end of it. And unfortunately, it's just been kind of, in this echo chamber, and there's been people been using it as a vehicle for going after each other and placing blame on people and explaining and excusing behavior and all this stuff. And it's just, it's a bummer. It's just a bummer. That being said, I really like how Elizondo handled himself. I really liked a lot of what Thomas Fessler said on his show about it. There've been some, there's been some people saying some, well thought out, pragmatic stuff that I think is good, and I think every time there are one of these explosions of emotion within this community or any community that you're a part of, it's really hard not to see it as somehow, your community being wounded at some level. And it's hard, but, if you can somehow reframe it in your mind as an opportunity to try out your new tools, as an opportunity to show how much you've changed and how much better you've become, then you can actually, take this and eventually spin it to something positive. But at the moment, it's just blah.
The one thing about it was that I noticed Elizondo came out right away when he realized his mistake and he admitted to his mistake. I mean, yep. What more?
I'm good about it.
Okay, I'm going to put it this way. I still believe that Luis Elizondo needs to be asked some very difficult questions. And you and I agree to disagree on that. And that's quite okay.
Well, no, they can be asked. I'm not sure I don't feel the same need for them to be answered, but I understand the need for them to be asked.
Okay. But the idea is this. I mean, the guy is already very, people treat him in a conspiratorial way because of his history and everything. But when someone makes a mistake and then they own up to the mistake, you got to be able to let it go and move on. You have to.
If for no other reason, forget him for a second. If for no other reason, showing to everyone else that that's the right way to do things and that you will be rewarded for doing it that way and that we will all let it go and move on, right? I mean, even if you don't care about that one individual, think about what the message is to all the others around you.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand that. I understand and appreciate that very much so. But I mean, look, he's always going to have the counterintelligence part hovering over his head. All right. And the fact that, we don't know fully what he did in his previous career. And when it comes to UFOs, I think in the long run, to play devil's advocate here, all right, when it comes to people like Elizondo or Chris Mellon, or even going back to Rick Doty, people are disingenuous about their ideas of what they are bringing to the field. They don't trust it, and there's a large conglomerate that is like that. UFO Twitter is not so much like that. And if you ask any questions about Elizondo, they attack you. Okay?
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
It does happen. I've had it happen to myself.
Yeah, but it happens a lot. It's not consistent, but it happens a lot. Yeah.
So I can see where there is a melting pot, because Lou does say a lot without giving out much. He does leave it to our own discretions. He has said on this show, as well as others, that he asks people to read between the lines of what he is saying to find the answers. I mean, the
truth of the matter is it in general in your life, the last person you ever want to be depending on as your primary information source is someone who has held a clearance.
Exactly.
Like, they're always going to have a limited ability to share information with you, no matter who they are or what they held. It's always going to have a valve on it. So relying on that one person to give you that information, it leaves you perpetually frustrated.
Yeah. And look, I will say this. I am on Team Elizondo, as I do believe he needs to answer some tough questions. I am on Team Elizondo. I never used to be. Yeah. Okay. But talking to the man privately and having conversation and then interviewing him a couple of times changed my thoughts on what he is about and what he is doing for ufology. I mean, the problem that I have is there's a big difference between disclosure and disclosure. We're not going to get a full disclosure. We're going to get a limited one. And I think that is the major concern that we should have with all of this, rather than, a confirmation type of disclosure where we're not going to get barely anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, you're totally right. And I think it's hard because I think that for so many people, they want aspects of disclosure that are going to change other people's behavior. And disclosure should be more about how it changes your own perception of your world and how it changes your perception of your reality and how you feel that you should be interacting with others. It's not about triggering other people to behave better or encouraging other people. It does not. You're not going to get other people to change the way they are just because of anything going on. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people want to see change as a result of disclosure. They want disclosure to happen, and then they want like other things to be triggered in society because of that. And I think that's where people get their hopes up and they get very emotional and they get very charged.
There is also, John, a very large difference between your disclosure, my disclosure, and everyone else's disclosure. To me, disclosure.
I hope so.
To me, disclosure has everything from ancient aliens right through to what happened at Roswell. Do we have bodies? Okay, are there craft at Area 51? That's what we need to know. All right. Other people's disclosure is, let's find out what these craft are so we can maybe use their technology, okay, to better humanity right now. Other people's disclosure is, what do the aliens want with me? Why are they taking me on a nightly basis? there is a number of different points to disclosure that
Morning, noon, and bite. It's buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's. Choose from a sausage biscuit, hash browns, McChicken biscuit, or other morning faves. At lunch or dinner, enjoy a McChicken, McDouble, small fries, and more. Buy one, get one for $1. You can get 2 of the same item or mix and match them. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Morning, noon, and bite. It's buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's. Choose from a sausage biscuit, hash browns, McChicken biscuit, or other morning faves. At lunch or dinner, enjoy a McChicken, McDouble, small fries, and more. Buy one, get one for $1. You can get 2 of the same item or mix and match them. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
haven't even been discussed. And yet when we talk about it, whether it's Stephen Greer's version or Steve Bassett's version or Lou Elizondo's version or whomever, there are so many different sides to disclosure here, we don't even know what we're arguing anymore. We really don't.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you. And I think that if you look at the people, if I've looked at the people who I know in this community, and if I look to myself, it's those of us that have taken all this and used it as an inward-looking tool. In my opinion, tend to be happier. Put mildly. It's I mean, I've personally already gained so much from what's been disclosed so far, and there's no rhyme or reason. There's no reason to say that one person's version of disclosure is right or another person's is wrong. And so I think it should be personal. I think it should be individual. I think disclosure should be, because each person does have a different qualification for it, and they're in the right to do so.
Okay, but it still doesn't choose the fact that, UFO Twitter and the UFO world really is like a war zone right now. In many cases it is. Well, look. I mean, all chaotic social structures perform worse in a vacuum because they self-publish in the vacuum, and that's not what you want. You want new data coming in, and so whenever there's a limited amount of data coming in, everyone it goes nuts, and that's what's going on. And so hopefully we'll get more data soon. But data is what solves this. Give people data to chew on. Give them their gladiators. Let them cheer and keep them distracted. But this is good stuff. This is actually proper stuff because the data actually does help us. It's not just for entertainment. No, absolutely. But I mean, the fight along Lou. I mean, this guy can, if he were to take a pee in the wrong place, I mean, he would be absolutely scorned. Yes.
And thank you, because there was another point I wanted to make, and that was that many of us, and I happen to say I don't think I've done this in a while, but I know I've done this myself. And a lot of us, what we do is we collect enough data over a period of time that we've decided to fail someone. We don't like them anymore for some reason, but we don't have enough data yet to convince everyone else, and so we sit and we wait. And we wait, and we look for data. And every time something comes out that we think we can use to strengthen our case for why this person is bad, we grab it and we go, yay, look, he's bad. And you keep piling it on and piling it on and piling it on and piling it on. And I think it's really, it's not a good quality in a human.
No, it's not. And but the idea is, though, for people who have questions about Luis Elizondo, they need to, their questions are perfectly ripe. And I'm not defending any type of videos or documentaries that are done on Lou, okay? But I've talked to some major people in this field who really do not understand what Elizondo is trying to get at. Okay, and these are big people in the field that won't talk about this on a public level, and yet, I mean, when you have people questioning that and questioning what does he bring to the Galileo project, to what does he bring to the subject in general, I think Lou is trying to do as much as he can right now, and get his voice out there and his opinion out there, but at times, I think that we're shaking him a little bit too hard, because if he disappears, John, if he goes away, which he could any day, he could just say, I've had enough. That's it. I'll work on this from behind the scenes. I don't need this public ridicule anymore. Then we lose a major source to the inside. And I could see Lou Elizondo one day just saying, screw it. I've had enough. I've had it. That's it. I'm walking away.
I'm sorry. I would laugh. So that would be so awesome. I would love to see that. I would love that. It would be so perfect. That would be so perfect. That would be the perfect ending to all of this. Because it's ridiculous how he's treated. I mean, you're right. Look, ask questions. Ask every question. Ask uncomfortable questions. Do them respectfully. Do it in the right place. But ask. But don't be mean.
Let's hold off on this when we come back on Spaced Out Radio. The fedora-wearing John Hudson and the Unbiased UFO Report continues here on Spaced Out Radio when we return for the final half hour of the show. Stay tuned. All right, we're clear. Oh, I think, look, I think Lou needs, and I've gone on record as saying this, Lou needs to get into some of these tougher subjects. He does.
Well, this is the question I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to get into too much detail in the show. Is that, yeah, look, every question that people want to ask, they should ask. But if you ask Lou a direct question and he can't answer it, what does that mean to you?
See, I look at things a little bit differently, okay? And what I mean by that is what I learned in journalism is to learn how to read between the lines, okay, into what he's saying. So when I asked him point blank in that first interview that I ever gave him, where I asked him point blank if he's ever seen little gray dudes running around, and then he came back and said, I've seen some interesting things over my time. And then he kind of went into some of the things that he has seen that kind of were interesting to him. That was, to me, if you read between the lines, him saying, yes, I have seen alien grays. Okay, reading between the lines.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, Sharon Lomax. Welcome to the channel. Gorgeous Carol, thanks for coming on in. Alien Critter, good to see you. Mark Sanchez, thank you for joining us. And, I really believe that he has seen some extraordinary things that the majority of people who are non-experiencers have never seen. Okay?
Sure.
In listening to his wording, I believe that he is an experiencer, whether it's on duty or off. I've never asked him that. I've asked him if he's seen aliens, but
But the thing is it? There seems to be this. There seems to be this belief that Lou has a lot of control over what he says, and he has a lot of control over what he shares. And in my experience, that's not true. In my experience, you meet with your whoever you're assigned, and you discuss things, and perhaps the next time you meet, you negotiate some new way that you can present the information far out, but maybe not. Maybe next time they actually end up bringing some conversation to you that happened on a Twitter account that now you have to explain. I mean, you never know how those meetings are going to go.
You know what? Here's the other thing too. Okay, depending on the contract that he has with the U.S. government or whatever agency he is currently being contracted to, okay, we also have to look at it as he may not have the ability to go away it might be his public persona that they are now taking advantage of, whomever they are. Okay, and it might be part of his contract saying, okay, Lou, you're the face of the franchise here. All right, we're going to give you tidbits, and you can let these tidbits go every now and again, but you got to stay the face of the franchise, and that's what you're getting paid for.
That would be a special kind of hell for Lou, but yes, I suppose that's possible.
Yeah, but Lou also has control of when he talks and when he doesn't. He also has control of when he, I believe tomorrow night, he will be on with the Ben and Joe from UFO Garage. All right, and I know he had a lot of fun with them on their last show that they did, and we're trying to get him back on our show.
But realize that if he goes onto their show and he shares some new information that he hasn't shared before, that isn't because they were nice. It looks that way, but it's coincidental. It's because something changed on the background that has allowed him to share that. Now,
Absolutely.
It might be that he was allowed to share it for 5 days, and he waited 5 days to share it. It might be that he had the information for 2 days. But the point is that how much what he shares and how much he shares is all. Like very little of it is under his control.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if he how can I put this? My head is just killing me right now.
It's okay, Dave. We can talk about it another time, man. It's not a big deal. I just thought it was an interesting conversation because I keep hearing people like who clearly are taking it personally that he won't answer their questions, and that's the part that bothers me because I've been in situations where I couldn't answer questions. I've been in situations where I've had friends that couldn't answer questions. They wanted to. They really did. They couldn't. Bad things would have happened if they had. And that's just the way it is, and you can't take it personally. It's just policy, All
right, here we go. Belinda, since you're new to the channel, Luis Elizondo is a man who claims to have ran the UFO program at the Pentagon a number of years ago. We passed, where are we here? We rounded third. We're headed for home on Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate you guys tuning us on in. John, we're going to get right to it here, honestly, because my head is killing me, and I am not feeling well. I haven't been feeling well the last couple of days, so I do apologize to everyone for everything here, but you know what, we're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it right now. We were talking Lou Elizondo, and one of the things that I think about Lou, and let's face it, he is a polarizing character within the UFO community. He calls his own shots, goes on the shows that he wants and where he feels comfortable. Others he is dismissed. Others he goes on sparingly. I would say we're one of those sparingly type of shows. And he is someone who chooses his words wisely. He chooses what he says wisely, and sometimes he lets out a few Easter eggs. Sometimes he gives out a number of little tidbits of information, But you made a good point when we were talking off the break here about the idea that, he is someone who, could walk away. And never be heard from again. Then what do? We're stuck with Nick Pope, for God's sakes. All right? And, I mean, who the hell is Nick Pope going to copy if Lou Elizondo goes away? I mean, it's one of those things, John, where I think in the UFO world we really have to be careful what we wish for. Because for years...
And we've seen examples, right? We've seen minor examples.
For years, we have wanted somebody like Luis Elizondo to come out of the Pentagon and tell us that this subject was real, that they know about it, that they have been studying it. Okay, now granted, I don't buy the BS story that, this is a new phenomena, that we don't know where it's coming from. No, I don't buy that whatsoever. I don't. 70 years of history says different. Okay? But we do need Lou Elizondo in this field. And the continual attacks about him, which I do not agree with, okay? Don't attack the person, attack the message. The message is different from the person. You know, and I'm a big believer in that, John. Big believer.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think there's a lot of people who have come to an internal decision that Lou is bad, and therefore they're always looking for evidence to support that hypothesis. There are other people that feel that Lou is always good and looking for evidence. There are other people that try really hard to weigh him on a weekly basis based on what he's doing. And I mean, there's also in-betweens, and it's just how it goes.
Very true. Very true. And he's going to subject that. But if Lou Elizondo, as of tomorrow, said, I'm done with the UFO field. I'm gone. Screw you guys. I'm going home. Pulling a Cartman. All right? I mean, what do we do? What do we do?
We sit and we ponder.
No, then we
ponder our behavior.
Then we're going to eat our own. That's what we're going to do. Then we're stuck with, nothing against these people, but now we're stuck back with the Linda Moulton Howes, the Steve Bassetts, the Daniel Sheehans, the Grant Camerons, Richard Dolans of the world. We're trying to conjure up and resurrect, Jim Mars and Stanton Friedman on Ouija boards to see what they have on the other side that they could give us. There's a lot. A lot that we are going to end up
start using
doing.
mediums. It'd be a messy thing.
But this is exactly it. I mean, look, whether we don't know if Lou Elizondo is a misinformation agent or not. We don't know. What we can say is this. Lou Elizondo is pretty much one of the pieces that is directly responsible for bringing this subject into the mainstream limelight. We have to give him credit for that. We also need to be able to identify the fact that he has, after leaving the To the Stars Academy, been much more open than we could ever expect on podcasts, radio shows, television shows, and everything in between. All right? You have to give him credit for that. Has he answered a lot of tough questions? What are tough questions? Okay? Asking him about his business life, I don't think pertains to what the TT or to what UFOs are all about. I don't see the correlation. I don't see the correlation of bringing his family into it. I don't see the correlation of needing to know that. If I'm a journalist and I'm which I am, and if I'm looking at all the notes and information I've gathered about Luis Elizondo, where he's invested his money is not as important to me as what he knows about Roswell.
Well, it's an age-old logical fallacy. You're attacking the character. You're trying to attack the character of someone because you're having trouble attacking their argument. It's very human. It's just not pretty.
No, it's not very pretty at all. And I think that's where we see a lot of the mess today that's going on. I mean...
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, look, you take Susan Go, the Speaker for the Pentagon, there is someone who has blatantly lied about Elizondo to the public. Whereas, back when he was alive, Harry Reid, Chris Mellon, and very many other people said this is Lou's job. If Lou was a liar about what he knew about this subject, he would not be briefing other senators, Congress people, and other agencies about this subject of UAP.
Nope. And the fact that all that was going on while she was actually saying what she was saying was, what it reminded me of? Honestly, I almost did a picture about it. It reminded me of when the last time the U.S. was invading Iraq, and there was that Iraqi Minister of Information. They kept getting on TV and talking about how the Americans were fleeing and how they were being run out of Baghdad, and he was literally saying this as American tanks were rolling into, he was basically just lying flat out, but in a very positive, rosy way that was being very helpful to keep people calm, right? And it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, and this totally reminded me of it. It was it just blows my mind.
Okay, let's get to a comment here from Mystic's Walk. This is the other side of the ledger. Lou is of no real use to us. In my opinion, he's never going to tell a single thing that we want to know. He is a disinformation man. It goes back to the old saying, why are you going to ask a liar a question? Now, John, I'll let you go on this, and then I'll answer that.
So I understand some of the logic. My challenge is that there is a lot of different types of people that work in this field, and a spook is not a spook. It's not a spook, and counterintelligence is a very specific skill set, and it's a very useful thing, and it's a very helpful thing, and it's a really critical thing, and they aren't like, it's totally different than like what field, like what Jim Semivan was doing, or like anyone doing like that kind of work, like that's a whole different ballgame, right? And so the fact that people slap Lou into the same group as people who I don't know, just it bothers me. It bothers me because counterintelligence, it's so important. So important.
Okay, but at some point, the fact that he is counterintelligence is one of the things that we also have to look at, to the idea, John, that when it comes to UFOs, we have to be able to understand that's different from what he was doing. Sure, he may have been.
I just thought of the analogy.
Pardon me?
It'd be like I just thought of the analogy. It'd be like hiring a fireman and then being worried that he was into arson.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now,
my totally
opinion,
but that's the analogy.
My opinion of what mystics walk, and I think mystics has a lot of good points. I don't think, though, where I'll disagree, I don't think he's been a disinformation agent. I think he has been a very controlled information man. He has only given us what he feels that we want to hear. Okay, and I don't think he has given us the golden nuggets. I agree with Mystic's Walk on that. I don't think that he has given us the goods that we feel are necessary for people who have been maybe directly or indirectly subjected to this subject. Look, the majority of people out there, John, and I'm not saying the lights twinkling in the sky, the majority of people out there who have had any sort of experience already have their disclosure. They already know the phenomena is real. I mean, this is stuff that Gary Nolan is looking into, and why people are even attacking Gary Nolan these days when he is probably, the second coming of his hero and mentor, Jacques Vallée, is absolutely incredulous. It really is.
Well, they got to get those attacks in now, before he gets too popular.
Right. But the idea that I'm saying here, though, is this. Elizondo, due to his NDAs, can only say so much. I think Elizondo, if he had his choice, though, still would not tell us about what happened at Roswell, what happened at Kecksburg, what's hiding at Area 51, what's happening or hiding at...
Do you think if he had that information and he was completely cleared to share it with you, that he would personally choose to withhold it?
I think that he would edit it. I would. I probably would too. Think about it. Okay. Think about it, John. If you look at everything that's going on, that's a lot of pressure on your shoulders to be the man who changes the world.
Yeah, which is exactly why you don't want to mess with it, and you just want to dump it as it is because you don't have any right to for the exact reasons you just said.
If
right?
Elizondo,
it's like,
if Elizondo was given the green light to mention everything that he knew, where would the world be? Where would the economy be?
We don't know yet.
Where would humanity
the fun
be?
Of it.
Well, I mean, we do know that this is part of the fears that have been studied the last number of years regarding this, including the study a few years ago by the Vatican regarding, or by NASA regarding, where they brought in all the Christian scholars to discuss this matter. Okay, this subject goes very, very deep that we don't give enough credit for. It's not about a craft that can travel at past light speed or close to it, right? This is going far beyond, right? Lumpy here says, I feel sorry for him in respect he's aware of his security oaths and clearances and cannot just tell anyone information he's privy to. Security doesn't facilitate that unless you want to go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, look, not everybody is going to agree.
It's not up to you. It's like you're totally, and that's the thing that's so hard is that, I mean, because the thing is that for anyone, there's stuff that that you cannot even, like, if that comes up in the room, you have to leave. There's stuff that that if that comes up in the conversation, you can't add anything. You can just listen. There's stuff that that comes up in the conversation where you might be able to give personal opinions, but nothing else. And there's so what all those things are, right? I mean, it's not left up to like off the cuff judgment, right? Like that's all locked down. Like you don't want people like willy-nilly deciding that stuff in the field. Like that's all very well laid out for folks.
Well, I mean, John, here's the other thing too we have to realize. Elizondo isn't there for ufology. He's a part of it. He's the face of it. But his job has been, throughout this entire last 4 years, his job has been to introduce the subject to the public that wasn't paying attention. His job hasn't been to be the voice of ufology the way we know it, the way Stanton Friedman was, or Richard Dolan is, or people like that. That hasn't been his job. Has he mended a fence between the two? Absolutely. One thing Lou Elizondo did state regarding everything was that he didn't agree with the Stars Academy, is that they had this entire support system called ufology that they pretty much kicked to the curb because they wanted to be better than them. Okay? And that was all the single rights of one person who can't figure out what band he wants to front. All right? They ignored ufology, their biggest supporters, their biggest everything, and they blew the opportunity. They blew it. And now Elizondo, I think, has done a good job at mending a lot of those fences. There's still some people that are butthurt, and they will continue to go the way that they want. But it doesn't hide the fact that in the end, Elizondo has introduced more people to this subject than any ufologist from Jacques Vallée on down in the last 50 years. And that's the truth.
Yeah, that is true. Yep, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? And that's what we need to remember. All right, let's move on to another subject here. Let's move on. All right. What's coming April 21st?
So there is supposed to be, well, I mean, basically, what I wanted to cover was, basically was this whole Elizondo issue. And then some of the other challenges that are coming up is okay, so let me go backwards and answer your question. So what that is that is not actually something that's coming up on 21st. That is something that is finally a detailed report that was published on the sighting that was on April 21st or in April of 2021. And so this was that double A sighting that we all talked about last year. And this was basically a nice article that came out that basically went into detail, like all the different data that came out for it, who added to the reporting, who was interested in the data. And unfortunately did not actually get down to any sort of conclusions, which I can't say I'm terribly surprised by, but I guess I was a little bit disappointed in. And but the thing was that I was really impressed that someone actually went back and followed up on a sighting. I mean, I guess what I'm excited about is this is how normal news works, right? Like someone reports something, and then at some point in the future, someone else follows up on it and like goes, you know what I'm saying? And now UFOs are being treated that way, and I think that's really kind of cool.
Okay. So how is this going to affect what we do?
Well, I think ultimately what it should be doing is it should be bringing people some faith and some comfort that essentially things are changing and things are opening up and things are freeing up. And now if you do report something through AA, or you do report something through the FAA, or you do report something through a news agency, that there's a chance that they might actually look into it and they might actually take it seriously, and that you're not going to get laughed at like you used to. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. That is a big deal. And Nicole Sakic brings up a good point in our chat room, and we love it when Nicole makes some points here. the President Obama Presidential Library FOIA requests have just started getting responses about what could happen there with some UFO stuff too.
That could be fun.
That's going to be very
really
interesting to watch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No. And the thing is, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about is that we are so early in this, right? And one of the interesting things that just came out was analysis that was done of all the QAnon writing through a machine learning language to determine who the actual authors were, right? And what I loved about this article is it tiptoed right on to what you and I talked about another night, where essentially in the future we're going to be able to take all of the correspondence between all the UFO researchers, all the papers that have been written, all the books that have been written, and we're going to be able to actually dump that all into an algorithm, and we're going to be able to start creating matches for style synchronicities, tone, word usage, and we're going to start actually figuring out tighter relationships, maybe even people that were writing as other people and so forth, who actually wrote things, who the actual authors were of things, and all this stuff we are going to get in the future. We're not there yet. And there's a lot more really, really exciting stuff to come.
There really, really is. Okay, we only got about 2 minutes left here. And let's go to this one. July 1947, Winnipeg Free Press, hypothesis number 3.
Yeah, this is cool. So first off, nod to Dan, and there'll be a link to his TikTok, and this is a good one. This is a fun one, and he covers up a lot of other good points. But the nut of it, and the part that I wanted to touch on, is the fact that what he found was an article from 1947 from the Winnipeg, and basically it's a Roswell article, right? Turns out that there was more than one Roswell article. But what was super cool was the guy that wrote this one, who, as a side note, also went on to write a UFO book. When he was writing out like the different sightings in different places and different evidence, he put forward the 3 hypotheses that he felt were the strongest. And they were the exact same hypotheses we're dealing with now. They're ours, and we don't know it. They're aliens, or they're interdimensional. And so this was an author in a public paper in 1947 suggesting that interdimensional is just as valid of a solution as anything else.
Wow.
It's not new.
Wow. I mean, you think that came out in a little piddly Winnipeg newspaper. You know? Good old Canada striking there, thinking for the future 50 years ahead. Look at that.
Not bad, right?
Not bad at all, man. Not bad at all. I'm actually kind of impressed by that. Where's Grant Cameron when you need him to speak about that? Sackich, where's Grant?
Good on Dan for finding it. Yeah, good on Dan for finding it.
And you know what? We should give a shout out to Dan Warren, because, I mean, the hard work that he is doing on his Twitter or his TikTok account and bringing these stories to the fold are really, really
He's actually doing his own unique research, which is awesome. And I love it. I applaud him for it. I think it's awesome.
Absolutely. John, thank you for an elongated UFO report tonight. Really appreciate it, buddy. And
my pleasure. Always fun.
Big thank you to Mr. Swamp Dweller for coming on in with another great spooky story from the swamp here on Spaced Out Radio. Make sure you check out Swamp Dweller Reads on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button as well. And, of course, to Brian Staveley, who came on in for a great show on the Mandela Effect. It always amazes me how many people come in and get so pissed off. You bring up the Mandela Effect, or you bring up Flat Earth or something like that. Holy cow, does it set people off. It's absolutely amazing. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Thank you to everyone listening in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and to wherever each and every one of you are listening, thank you for tuning us on in.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us. Because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everyone.
Morning, noon, and bite. It's buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's. Choose from a sausage biscuit, hash browns, McChicken biscuit, or other morning faves. At lunch or dinner, enjoy a McChicken, McDouble, small fries, and more. Buy one, get one for $1. You can get two of the same item or mix and match them. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Morning, noon, and bite. It's buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's. Choose from a sausage biscuit, hash browns, McChicken biscuit, or other morning faves. At lunch or dinner, enjoy a McChicken, McDouble, small fries, and more. Buy one, get one for $1. You can get two of the same item or mix and match them. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for product of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with any other offer.